Here's your nightly World War III update. The United States is advising its citizens to leave Tehran immediately. China is now telling its citizens to leave Israel immediately. Russia is telling its citizens to leave both Israel and Tehran immediately. Israel is warning people to leave Tehran, and Iran is telling people to leave Israel. So to sum it all up, if anybody watching my video is living in Tehran or Tel Aviv, just get the hell out of there. It's better to be alive than wrong. This is gonna be one interesting night. Something huge could be on the horizon. Donald Trump has left the G7 summit early, and he orders for a situation room to be prepared. Pray for the world, folks.
We have breaking news right now. Donald Trump has officially approved plans to strike Iran, for the United States to go to war with Iran and strike nuclear sites, according to the Wall Street Journal. But the holdup, there's no final approval just yet. He's waiting to see whether or not Iran will, on its own, abandon its nuclear progress and its nuclear facilities, according to the Wall Street Journal's latest reporting. 3 people familiar with the deliberations in this matter have said that Donald Trump has approved final plans to strike Iran. But the final order still is on hold. Iranian nuclear facilities remain up and running, but Donald Trump is waiting to see whether or not Tehran will abandon the nuclear program on its own. Folks, this is significant. Donald Trump is meeting with his National Security Council right now. We could potentially see a strike of Iran this evening based on the timeline. So I will provide you updates every step of the way. Subscribe to my Substack to support at the link in my bio. Spread the word. It's going to be a very long night. Giddy up. I'm not going to be sleeping anytime soon, so follow along for all the news you need to know about. I'll have time, or I'll have updates every hour.
Shalom. Welcome to another video. And as always, before I get started, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachodash, and next double honors to the head apostles / elder bishops of the great millstone who teach and who rule well. Peace, blessings, and safety to all you sincere Akim. Keep pushing, keep believing, and keep the faith, regardless of whether people hear or whether they forbear. All right, so this is going to be a quick lesson. All right, going into what we see happening over there in the so-called Middle East. All right, now we see the war escalating between Iran, which is the Elamites, okay, also known as the Persians, against Israel, okay, the land of Israel. All right, the Israelis, which are Amalek, the chief tribe of the Edomites, okay. And this is ultimately going to lead us, eventually it's going to lead into World War III, according to prophecy, as the scriptures say, the least of the flock shall draw them out. All right, so now, like I said, this is just another update on the escalation towards World War III. Okay, different nations are pushing out evacuation orders for their citizens from primarily Tel Aviv and Tehran. Okay, Tehran being, I believe, the capital of Iran, and then Tel Aviv being a major city in the land of Israel. So, anyways, once again, this is escalation towards World War III. All right, in the same way that they are giving these announcements, okay, we, as the messengers of the Lord, are giving announcements as well. So that's the topic that I'm going to dive into. And Yahweh righteous I mean the Heavenly Father's will is edifying to the elect. All right, so this is Isaiah 13:1. It says, "The burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos did see. Lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain, and exalt the voice unto them." So proclaiming, okay, what's getting ready to happen. It says, "Shake the hand, that they may go into the gates of the nobles." All right, and going to the gates, we're going into the main city centers, all right, right in front of these different nations of the world, and proclaiming what's getting ready to happen next. It says, "I have commanded my sanctified ones, I have also called my mighty ones for mine anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people. A tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. Yahweh, power of hosts, mustereth the host of the battle." Okay, so he's gathering up the nations for World War III. It says, "They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even Yahweh, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land." Howl ye, for the day of Yahweh is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. Okay, and those weapons that are coming from the end of heaven is going into the nuclear missiles. Okay, from Russia, China, North Korea. All right, and they're going to hit America, Babylon the Great. All right, and the creation state of Israel. All right, it says, verse 8, it says, and they shall be afraid, pangs and sorrow shall take hold of them, and they shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another, their faces shall be as flames. Behold, the day of Yahweh cometh cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. It says, for the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. All right, the skies are going to be completely blacked out. All right, and wisdom, okay, which the light represents wisdom, all right, is going to be hidden. It says, verse 11, and I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity, and I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. Okay, so that's what's getting ready to happen. All the terrible, the proud, the arrogant, the cocky, all right, they're not going to be proud in that day. It says, and I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man in the golden wedge of Ophir. All right, so, okay, that's what's getting ready to happen. All right, and the men that are going to be more precious than fine gold are the men that have the truth. All right, the ones who have been humbled, okay, and have been lowly, all right, they're going to be exalted. Okay, and the proud, the arrogant, they're going to be humbled. All right, Yahushua said, he said that he said that the exalted should be abased and the abased should be exalted. Roughly paraphrasing. All right, let's get Zephaniah 3 and 8 right quick. Okay, this is the plan, his determination, all right, to gather the nations together for World War III. And this is what this is leading up to. Zephaniah 3 and 8, it says, therefore wait ye upon me, saith Yahweh, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. So we're waiting on this day patiently, because this day represents freedom for the elect. All right, and while we're waiting for Yahweh, all right, to bring this judgment, all right, we're seeking him with all of our heart and all of our soul. Okay, this is Jeremiah 50 and verse 1. All right, it says, the word that Yahweh spake against Babylon and against the land of the Chaldeans by Jeremiah the prophet. It says, declare ye among the nations and publish, set up a standard and publish and conceal not. So once again, we're going to the gates of the nobles. We're warned the same way that they're giving the warning to evacuate these lands. We're giving you the warning of what Yahweh Basham Yahushai is coming to bring, okay, which is destruction via World War III. It says, once again, publish and conceal not, say Babylon is taken, Bel is confounded, Merodach is broken in pieces, and her idols are confounded, her images are broken in pieces, because none of these idols are going to be able to save you from the day of Yahweh's wrath. Okay, these idols and their power, which they really have no power, but their perceived power, all right, that the people trust in, is going to be destroyed and dismantled. All right, verse 3, it says, for out of the north there cometh up a nation against her, which shall make her land desolate, and none shall dwell therein. They shall remove, they shall depart, both man and beast. And this is Russia, China, North Korea. Primarily Russia, though. That's the main, that is the main proponent of World War III. Okay, is going to be Russia versus the United States of America, aka Babylon the Great. All right, and this is the one that is going to shoot those missiles from the end of heaven that we read about in Isaiah the 13th chapter. All right, verse 4, it says, and in those days and in that time, saith Yahweh, the children of Israel shall come, they and the children of Judah together, both southern and northern kingdom, that are prophesied to be in Babylon the Great in the last days. Going and weeping, they shall go and seek Yahweh their power. And they shall ask the way to Zion with their faces thitherward, saying, come and let us join ourselves to Yahweh in a perpetual covenant that shall not be forgotten. So that's what we're doing right now. Okay, seeking the Lord with all of our heart, spirit, soul. All right, and hoping to be brought into that new covenant at the second coming of Yahushua, enter into those marriage chambers, okay, to be joined unto the Heavenly Father, all right, in fullness, okay, by way of his son Yahushua. So that's what's happening right now, but we're just proclaiming, all right, what's getting ready to happen, the judgment of the nations via World War III. All right, the same way that they are proclaiming that the missiles are getting ready to be shot off, hence the evacuation orders. All right, so this is Joel 3 and 9. We'll close out with this. It says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war Wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. It says, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears, and let the weak say, I am strong. So the nations that, were once weak, okay, these so-called second and third world countries, all right, where their primary day-to-day business is in agriculture, etc., stuff like that. He's saying, put down your plowshares and prepare swords, prepare for war, right? And let the weak say, I am strong, okay? Why? Because Russia is a guard unto these nations, pursuing to Ezekiel 38. All right, and Russia has given a lot of these nations nuclear capabilities, which this is what the whole, conflict is all about. Okay, America joining forces, which they've always been with, the creation state of Israel. But, Trump is saying that Iran is not allowed to have nuclear weapons. Well, this is the reason why, because once again, the weak is now saying they're strong because they're being provided with advanced weaponry, by way of Russia. All right, before the nations were afraid of the beast because they were able to drop atomic bombs and nuclear weapons on people. All right, but nuclear weapons have not been used yet. They're going to be used in this final world's war. But during the time when Hiroshima and Nagasaki were bombed atomically, all right, that caused the nations to be in fear. But now, since all other nations have that same kind of firepower and greater, they're not afraid of Esau and the beast system any longer. All right. So it says, verse 11, assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahweh. Let the heathen be awakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, which is Yahweh Shaphat, meaning Heavenly Father's judgment. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come and get you down, for the press is full, the fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. Multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of Yahweh is near in the valley of decision. The sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. Here's the point in verse 16, though. But Yahweh also shall roar out of Zion, and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake, but Yahweh will be the hope of his people, and the strength of the children of Israel. All right, it says, so shall ye know that I am Yahweh, your power, dwelling in Zion, my holy mountain. Then shall Jerusalem be holy, and there shall no more strangers pass through her anymore. So that's why we're waiting on the day that Yahweh rises up to the parade, because when he brings his judgment, all right, and shakes up the earth, okay, we're not going to be under oppression any longer. All right, verse 18, it says, and it shall come to pass in that day that the mountains shall drop down new wine. Okay, that's what's happening right now. And the hills shall flow with milk. And this is lining up with Isaiah, the 55th chapter. Okay, talking this new wine and milk is talking about the wisdom, understanding of the scriptures. Okay, the milk is what you give to a newborn. Okay, someone that's freshly born again, they receive it at milk, and then as they get older, they're able to drink wine. Okay, to get the harsher parts of the scriptures. And all the rivers of Judah shall flow with waters. Okay, the fountain of living waters, and a fountain shall come forth of the house of Yahweh, and shall water the valley of Shittim. All right, let's just go into that word. All right, for Shittim. Okay, so Strong's H7851. All right, and it says the Acacius. I'm not exactly sure what that means. I'm gonna look it up. Places of Israel encampment between the conquest of the Transjordic region and the crossing Jordan into Canaan. All right, I'll do some more research on that later, but Acacius, I think it's a tree. Okay, yep. Okay, the valley of trees. All right. So anyways, let's go back. All right. So that water, that living water is watering the valley, okay, which is talking about the people. All right, Jacob has received those fountains of living water. Once again, it says, verse 19, and Egypt shall be a desolation, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness. As we always go into, our spiritual Egypt is a code word for America. All right, who runs America? Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. So Egypt being a desolation is the same as Edom being a desolate wilderness. Okay, because spiritual Egypt is ran by Esau, Edom. It says, why? For the violence against the children of Judah, because they have shed innocent blood in their land. But Judah shall dwell forever, and Jerusalem from generation to generation. For I will cleanse their blood that I have not cleansed, for Yahweh dwelleth in Zion. Okay, and this is the end result. All these things are leading up to World War III, All right, the War of Armageddon. Okay, Armageddon in the Paleo Hebrew. Okay, the mountain of troops, all the troops coming together to fight. All right, and this is the determination of the Lord. Okay, to bring about their end via World War III and the beginning of Jacob. Okay, the beginning of Jacob's rulership. All right, and being returned unto our power, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. So that's it. I'm going to close it out there. Heavenly Father's will is edifying as always. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachash. And until next time, Shalom, and abide b'ball.